Let me tell you guys, you complain a lot over some pretty minor failures. I mean, seriously. Wah, my friend beat me at Mario Kart. Wah, I lost that game of COD. Wah, I failed to get into the school of my dreams. Wah, I failed to do a life-saving surgery. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, so obviously I'm joking, but as bad as all of those failures are, could you imagine if you were never, ever, ever able to succeed or win at anything in your entire life and never getting discouraged? Well, as it just so happens, this is the story of history's greatest loser. Or rather, an anime's history's greatest loser. Or rather, the lore of an anime's history's greatest loser. You get the idea. Okay, so from this point on, I'm going to have to talk about some pretty spoilery things. So if you haven't watched Record of Ragnarok or read the manga, you may want to do that before watching this video if you care about those kinds of spoilers. But I had recently watched Record of Ragnarok, and one particular character stood out to me. And for those of you who have seen or read the manga, you know that that character is one Sasuke Kajiro. Now, he was, at least according to the records of the anime, the worst swordsman in all of history. But he really never got upset, and the reason was because he didn't view his losses as losses. I mean, yeah, he knew that he never won anything, that's for sure, but he wasn't trying to. See, the reason he fought was to learn from his opponents. When he fought them, he was able to memorize what they did and go over it again over and over in his head until he figured out how to beat them. Now, there's a couple reasons why I really like this character. First, it's his humility. I mean, think about it. He lost over and over and over again, yet this never upset him. And it's not just a moral thing, but it's also a practical thing. I mean, yes, it's a huge moral thing. But the practical point of it is that his large amount of humility allowed him to view his losses as what they really were. They weren't a bad thing. They were a learning opportunity. And the more humility you have, the more you're easily able to do this. Now, the other reason I like him is that even with his consistent losses, he still earned the respect of almost every challenger he's ever faced. Seriously, think about it. Could you imagine respecting somebody's skills so much, even though they've never won a match in their entire life? And then the final reason I respect him so much is that he did this simply because he wanted to be the best swordsman, to quote the anime, under the sun. Seriously, he said to himself, I do not care how much sweat I have to make, I do not care how much I bleed, and I do not care how much I lose. I will lose as many times as it takes. Tens, hundreds, millions, trillions of times if possible, until I become the best one around. Now, at first glance, that might seem pretty easy to accomplish, right? Just go around, keep losing until you become the best. Well, here's the thing. He didn't go into these battles just thinking, yeah, I'm gonna not try at all and lose. For these things to work, he had to have every intention on trying to win. Now, think about it. Think about the last time that you really tried to win at something. Think about how hard you tried and how much effort and spirit you poured into it, and how devastating it was when you weren't able to accomplish it, whether it was a test or a competition or wherever the case may be. That's not a good feeling. Now imagine that you're going through that experience on almost a daily basis, that soul-crushing experience of losing something you're putting everything into to try to win. And this is what he was doing. Yet his spirit was so unwavering, his mental fortitude was so set on becoming the best, that this barely fazed him. And you might think, oh, well, what's the point if you never actually win anything? Or even, how do we know that he's one of the best if we've never actually seen him win, right? Well, I'm glad you asked. For you see, in this anime, humanity battles for its survival in a 13v13 tournament. If the humans are victorious, then the human race survives. But if the gods win, they will be destroyed and wiped from history. And in this tournament, he calls upon all of the skills he's accumulated during life and even in the afterlife to become the first human to ever defeat a god. Now, am I saying we should just be content with losing? No, that is very dumb. Don't do that. In fact, part of the reason that a lot of us push ourselves beyond what we previously thought possible was simply because we wanted to win. That's why competition is such a great thing. Now, am I also saying that we should never be bummed out, otherwise we won't learn anything? No, I mean, look, we're all going to be bummed out at one point or the other. It doesn't mean that we're never going to learn from it. Sometimes we do need some time to get over a loss. That's perfectly human. Or in this case, owl. Now, what I am saying is that we should learn to focus on our losses. Because the more we learn from when we lose, the better we'll get. On top of that, when we lose is when our characters are truly shown. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this new video. I'm still learning about this new format, seeing what works and what doesn't work. So if you could leave your advice down in the comment section below, along with what you do and don't like about it, I would really appreciate that. Otherwise, make sure to hit that subscribe button and that like button, along with that bell button, which I'm pretty sure is down there, or there, somewhere there. I post every other week. Until next time, hear nothing and listen to all. Bye, guys.